Okay, now that we've got our brass clean, I'm going to show you how to deprime and how to clean the primer pocket to our brass. This is a cleaned and already lubed and prepared case. By the way, I should mention, after you get your cases cleaned and dried, you should lube up your cases too. Now, some dyes, such as the Lee carbide dyes, say that you don't need any lubrication on your cases whenever you put them in through. I still do, as a rule of thumb. You can either use a hand lube, such as Lee makes a case lube that's very good. It's pretty much like a toothpaste. You take a little dab on there and then just rotate it around. It's also a good way if you're out in the field and you don't have a method to wash your brass, you can wipe it on there, and that will help also remove grime and stuff, just because you're purposely putting it on there. I'm lazy and I don't like to put all that effort into going into individual cartridges. If I'm out in the field, I will, but when I get here and I want to reload a bunch of brass and a bunch of ammunition, I'll use another method, which I'll put all my dried brass, clean and dried brass, into a plastic container, and I'll spray it down. Hornaday makes this. It's called One Shot, and it's a pump spray. You spray it on there, roll them around, just kind of like the tumble lube bullets. And it lubes them up. After a while, about an hour, it dries out. It's supposed to dry a lot quicker than an hour, but I usually leave it set for an hour. And it lubes them up pretty well and makes them have a good time. What we're going to do, after we've got our case that's cleaned and ready to resize and deep prime, and it's lubed up, I'm going to be using a Lee hand loader too. This is an excellent, I'll have a video segment on this device as well sometime in the future. It's an excellent portable loading device. What I want to do is I want to take my die set here, and I have a Lee carbide die set here for 40 caliber. I want to take my decapping and resizing die, which is this one here. As you notice, the little pin here, that's what, whenever your cartridge case goes up into here, it resizes to the original factory dimensions, and it pops the old primer out, ready to fix and go up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and install this into my hand press here. And it's just like a mounted single stage press that you mount on a bench, only it's portable, and it does pretty good. You just screw in your sizing die into the top here. As you notice, I've already got the 40 caliber shell plate in the holder here, so I've got it set up ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and screw it in. And I already have this die set up for this particular press here. It's a good idea to set them up for individual presses. You just can't really switch one out for the other. You can, but it's always good to readjust your die set. This one's already adjusted to it. So as you see, we hit this lever and it lifts the ram, which is this part here, all the way up into the die. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 40 caliber brass that's been shot, and there's the used primer in there. I'm going to install it into the shell holder. I'm going to press it up into the die, and I'm going to go ahead and press it down and resize. This takes a little bit of force on some cartridges. Alright, what I've done now is I've got the cartridge in there, and it resized to the original factory dimensions. Now when I pull this out, we now have a primerless case, and it's been resized so it's ready to reload into the other die sets. Our old primer goes into the ram here, which you can empty out by simply tipping it up. There's our old primer. Okay. From this point on, I had another individual on the internet ask me about how do you clean the primer pocket. When we clean our brass, it's going to be a natural occurrence that we don't get every single bit of grime and dirt off of there. Even a vibratory tumbler, the ones I was talking about before, can't get every single bit of dirt and grime off of your case. That's why you're never going to have a 100% clean case unless it comes directly from the factory. What I have is I have invested in a Lee primer pocket cleaner, which is essentially $3 or less, depends on where you get it, and it can do both large and small primer. Since the 40 takes a small primer case, what you do is you take the small primer in, put it in, and rotate it a few times. I rotate the case around just to get everything cleared out. Knock the dirt off. There's not a whole lot in there, but You probably can't see on the camera, but it's a lot shinier and cleaner on the inside. Now, I've never really had an issue with primers being really dirty. I've taken and reloaded a case, hundreds, probably thousands of cases where it's not it's never given me a problem not to clean the primer pocket out. Now, if I shoot rifles, if I use this ammunition that I depend to protect my life with, then yes, I take the extra step and clean out and make sure there's no bit of residue or anything. But as of right now, my reloading scheme is strictly for cheap practice ammunition. So at this point, I don't make a big deal about it, so it's just a personal preference. You can also take a pipe cleaner and put it in there and wallow it around a little bit. But like I said, a Lee $3 primer pocket cleaner will do everything you need it to do, and it works very well, and it's a good thing. I just throw it in the kit, the dye kit with it, and it's ready to go. So that is how we clean out the primer pocket of a cartridge after we deprime and clean